They found somebody else. They found somebody with a little bit better resume.
You know what the best part of Eddie is? I don't know. A lot of our listeners / viewers of a certain age are going to not have any idea what you're talking about. They like have these great trash talk sequences with like Brad Doherty and like Avery Johnson, and I can't remember who else. It's awesome though. I highly recommend it. All right. We have a coach in New York, but first I think we should talk about the Lakers getting a center. That was them getting DeAndre Ayton on a 2-year deal. I have to say, while DeAndre Ayton has flaws in his game, which we have discussed in this podcast over the course of years, when you don't have a center and you're limited in what you can spend, getting a player who can produce on that level for that money, which was about $8 million a year, is a decent save. So while he's not the perfect player, and nor do I think he's the long-term fit as the center for Luka, it is a much better position than they were in 2 days ago, Bontemps.
Yeah, I mean, look, we've been talking about the Lakers getting a center literally from the moment they traded for Luka Doncic back in, I guess, late January, early February. I don't remember exactly what the date was. They obviously made the Mark Williams trade that they rescinded almost immediately afterward. And ever since then, it's been like, all right, who are the Lakers going to get at center? And yes, DeAndre Ayton is a flawed player. He is far from a perfect player. There is a reason he was just bought out of the max deal he was on. That being said, he also is one of the most talented centers that was available this summer. Could argue he was the second most talented center after Miles Turner on the market. And the Lakers getting him on this deal, a 2-year deal at less than the full mid-level, I believe player option on the second year, that is to me a real win for them to get this deal done. And that's not to say that DeAndre Ayton is going to be an all-star with the Lakers, but he is a guy with a lot of talent who fits in many ways what they need. He could be a presence inside, particularly on offense. He has not often played to the level he is capable of on defense, but if the Lakers can coax some good play out of him, he could really make a significant impact this year for them. It'd be a big upgrade over Jackson Hayes. And also, yes, he's not a max player, but it is a far different calculus to become a good signing when you have to clear being a guy that's on essentially what is the room mid-level, around $8 or $9 million, than if you're making $35 million. So the Lakers still have a lot of holes. They're still, I think, outside the top 4 in the Western Conference, but DeAndre Ayton will help them. I think it's a good signing and at least gets them started while they've seen several other teams in the West make upgrades over the past week or so.
I would argue he was the most talented center on the market. He's the most physically gifted center on the market. The problem with DeAndre Ayton has never been about talent. He's 7 foot, 250, chiseled, athletic, has good touch. Like, he has all the talent in the world. Called him a talented doofus on Get Up, and I don't mean doofus as in a lack of intelligence. I just mean he tends to be foolish. I mean, he's just like, he tends to just wear down his coaches, his veteran teammates, just with not malicious stuff, but he's late. He's not paying attention to detail. He's snowed in. All these kind of things.
There was I did a piece on him a couple of years ago when he was sort of ascending, when the Suns were ascending, and I remember finding all of these videos of Chris Paul screaming at him in the huddle. Like, every single huddle, Chris Paul was yelling at him about something. Like every single night.
Now, it's not a coincidence that was the best stretch of his career when he had Chris Paul directing him around the court.
To DeAndre Ayton's credit, he did play a significant role on a team that went to the NBA Finals, was up 2-0 in the Finals. Also to Chris Paul's credit. I was really down on the fit of DeAndre Ayton with the Lakers because I know, like, hey, if he's going to be not rolling hard and wanting post-ups and all that kind of stuff, Luka is not a guy known for an extraordinary level of patience with his teammates. I think J.J. Redick's patience could certainly be tested. And I talked to a couple people yesterday about DeAndre. I talked to one former Phoenix staffer, one former Portland staffer. And the former Phoenix staffer is like, this is not going to work. He's going to do this little half roll thing. Luke is going to just get fed up with him. JJ Redick's going to get driven crazy. This is going to be a disaster. The former Portland staffer was like, listen, everything that went wrong in Portland, some of it was on DeAndre, some of it was on the organization. His feeling, though, was Ayton's going to understand the situation here. He's not a max player. He's a guy who's been dumped by 2 franchises, and as you said, is basically playing on a prove-it deal for the room mid-level here, with a 1-year deal plus a player option. And that's going to create a sense of urgency. It's going to create a kind of hunger that maybe he has not had at his first 2 stops in the league. And I said, okay, is he going to do the things you have to do to thrive playing with Luka? And he says, if he knows he's going to get passed to, he'll roll hard. And he pointed out that he was a very effective role finisher with Chris Paul during their time together with the Suns. So after that conversation, I am a little bit more optimistic about this. And the thing is, if Ayton, it's all about attitude. It's all about willingness to do dirty work. If he does those things, it does have a chance to be a long-term fit. I think it's either going to be a long-term fit or a short-term circus fire.
Yeah. So I would also say, I think the Lakers need even another center because...
Well, you need more than one. And right now they have one. You probably need a second one. I will also add one thing really quick. It is worth pointing out that I believe, and you guys can correct me if I'm wrong, I'm pretty sure that it was the DeAndre Ayton side of the equation that went to the Blazers and helped orchestrate this buyout. I think in part because they sort of saw the writing on the wall in Portland and saw that they drafted Donovan Clingan last year. They drafted Yang Hansen, I believe is how we're saying it, this year. Mm-hmm. And they clearly were going in a different direction at the center spot. And to McMahon's point, this is DeAndre Ayton's chance to reset what people think of him and his career going forward. Like, if this goes well, there's a lot of cap space next summer. He is an extremely talented player. I believe he's still only 26. Like, he could still cash in and have a totally different second half of his career, or he could go the other way and be a guy that's looking at a minimum deal a year from now. And like, that's all entirely down to how he handles what is a pretty great opportunity in front of him.
Well, and I think that was the concern from DeAndre Ayton and his agents when they went to Portland. Obviously, Portland was looking to move on from him. Portland was, it makes all the sense in the world for Portland to have phased him out this year and gone with their young bigs. And if Ayton's kind of and look, I don't think Ayton's a guy who's great at masking his feelings or preventing his feelings from being evident when he's on the floor.
That's
so
true.
if he's feeling unappreciated, if he's feeling, maybe even disrespected, unwanted, and all those kind of things, and he kind of mopes through a season, then he's looking at maybe being a minimum guy next year. Now he gets basically all. I think he might have left a little bit on the table.
I'm not sure a minimum guy, but okay.
Okay, but